Hi, Stephen Hagan from the Gloucester Times. Nice to see you.
Hello, Heather from Rockport. Nice to see you as well. How are things?
Good, good, very good. We don't have Ethan today, so you are going to get us up to date on Rockport and Essex.
That's right. Ethan is on assignment right now, but there are at least three stories that I wanted to talk briefly. They're not earth-shattering news-breaking stories, but they're fairly interesting. Let's start in Rockport, a little portion of Cape Ann. Um,
Don't say
the
Jake. Don't say
I
Jake.
would I would never, not me. I've been warned not to say dinky by my colleague.
Good.
You dare say that? That offends somebody. It was meant in affection. I wasn't trying to be
Sure.
smart.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rockport, the school department, and they are going to come to town meeting next spring, and they're going to ask for approximately $320,000 for their capital campaign, the capital project. Items that are part of that project include this at the obviously at the school complex on Jordan's Lane, school blinds, school carpeting they're taking out and they're putting new tiling in. The superintendent just sees it as a more economical, wise choice and healthier for the students and staff. The carpets they have there are pretty bad shape. The blinds are, many of them are broken there. I think there are more than 100. I can't remember the exact number, but there's a lot of blinds in the school, and they're dirty, they're broken, so they're going to be removed and replaced with really nice blinds. Also, they want to seek a school they're seeking school transportation, and that would include at least one additional bus. That would be a multi-function bus at 102,279. That's the bulk of not the bulk, but the biggest request item in the budget at the town meeting. So
will this require an override, Stephen?
That's a good question. I don't believe so. It's just part of their capital campaign. I could be wrong. It may require an override request, which would take place before town meeting. That town meeting would be the right before. If it were an override, it would go to the voters, but it would have to be approved at town meeting as well. What I gather.
Right. We'll find out.
Moving over to nearby Essex, they are they're considering a wetlands bylaw. They don't have one. And they are also basically the wetlands bylaw. It's the wetlands protection bylaw. A lot of small details about what that really means, but basically they want to preserve open space. There is also a consideration by the Board of Selectmen and the Conservation Commission to change the oversight. Let's see if I can get this straight. It's a little complicated. It's called the municipal small storms. Take two. Municipal small storms sewage system requirements. It's a mouthful. Okay. And it's nicknamed MS4. So if you ever hear that term MS4 in Essex or in Rockport or in any Massachusetts town, it's talking about small storm sewage system requirements. Right now, it's currently overseen by the Department of Public Works, the DPW. The Conservation Commission has initiated taking over the authority of this provision. And according to the town administrator, Zabricki, he has spoken with the DPW chief. He's cool with the idea, and it looks like it's going to happen. So a lot of people wouldn't even know this stuff is going on. But
yeah, so why does that matter? What are they trying to achieve?
I think it's more. I don't know what the real desire by the Conservation Commission to do this. I think, from what I gather, and this is just me speaking, I think this just makes sense. It's just like a common sense effort.
The wetlands bylaw, they're trying to protect wetlands? You said open space. So will this impact like trying to build on wetlands or fill wetlands? I'm sure that's sort of.
It does. That is a part of it. It's basically. Oh, wait a minute. I was afraid you'd ask the question. That's okay. We have the time. My colleague is not here, so I'm gonna take it out of the story that I wrote that I should know, but I don't know. The Wetlands Protection Act, which is a state law, that reviews applications for permits to do work in or near wetlands, floodplains, banks, riverfront areas, beaches, and surface waters.
So the
I
state
don't-
kind of takes care of that anyway, right?
It does to a degree, but this is, I suppose, just a local provision to give the town authority to do this. Right now, they don't have the authority because they don't have the bylaw. So,
Right. Huh.
so
Okay.
that's it.
When you say mulling, will this be voted on? Will this go to the voters?
Yes. Is that for an answer?
Okay, that's a solid answer. Yes. The Essex voters will be deciding whether to
Yes.
have a wetlands bylaw and whether to
Well,
transfer.
yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking more about the meaning of your question. Yes, this will have to be decided on, I think, by a vote at town meeting, but I don't know if it will also require a vote at the general election. I think definitely town meeting.
Okay, all right.
The last story, somewhat a feature, but still a news story, really cool. Something I love because ships.
Hmm.
There's the Essex Historical Society and Shipyard Museum, and they have this archives, which is not at the museum, but it's actually located at the old schoolhouse in Essex at 28 Main Street. It's from what I gather, it's a dark, dusty building on the second floor where the archives are held. There are thousands of documents in many, many filing cabinets. And they've all been overseen by this guy named Jim Witham. Jim Witham is a historian in Essex, really well regarded, and for a good reason. He knows everything about, he's got a computer brain. He knows everything about ships that were built in Essex that have made their voyage around the globe. And saving that, the archives, he has this documentation he can get to immediately. If he doesn't know it off the top of his head, he can get to it. Anyway, the town has decided to name the archives in Jim Witham's name. So that is Mr. Witham right there. He's on the front page. Great photo by our staff photographer, Bob Thibodeau.
It's a beautiful picture. Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
It looks like Robert E. Lee. That's what I don't know. There's something about a guy with a beard in a dark room. It's pretty cool.
I think he looks like an archivist, a shipbuilding archivist, for sure. 18th century.
Yeah. He's really interesting. It's funny. I talked to a few people, including Harold Burnham at the shipyard. Who knows Jim really well and has worked with him for a long time. And he praised him. I talked to his wife, Mrs. Witham. Her name escapes me at the moment. She said, all you have to do is ask him about shipbuilding. He'll tell you because he knows. Okay.
So Stephen,
yes, ma'am.
Mr. Witham is retiring, right? That's why they're naming the archives after him. Is he retiring?
I don't that.
No, he's not. They're just so he will continue at the archive.
I believe he's essentially. I gather he is a volunteer at the Historical Society.
Okay.
So he will. From what I gather, there are no plans for him to retire.
Okay, so he's still doing his work, but
yeah,
will be.
Everything's going to go on sabbatical, just as things were, except it's probably going to be a plaque.
Yeah.
And there is a ceremony. I think tickets have already been handed out. The gathering is just FYI Friday, October 13th from 4 to 6 p.m. Again, it's going to take place at the old schoolhouse at 28 Main Street in Essex.
Great. All right. So what are you working on for next week?
Well, right now I'm working on a ton of stuff. Just staying in Rockport, going back to Rockport, I already have a story that I'm putting together that profiles New Year's Eve in Rockport. I can't believe I've been here for a year now because I did a preview of that event last year, And so the organization, Rockport New Year's Eve, Inc. is, putting out information. They haven't planned all their events, but they have a tentative schedule of certain performers. They can have the ball drop from the fire truck, ladder truck, down at Dock Square. Music, people are going to be walking all around. There's going to be a big concert at the Shaolin Theater. I can't remember the group there, but anyway, I'll have a preview of that.
Go on. You go on. I'm interrupting you.
No, that's quite right. Did you have a question?
No, I was just going to say that.
Because I'm all about questions. I love questions. Love asking them.
Okay.
I like answering them. Sometimes I can't, but I try.
Here's a question. What is the weather going to be this coming New Year's Eve in Rockport?
Oh, well.
Always a question mark.
According to my meteorological survey, and I have at this point, in terms of what I will share is my opinion of long-range weather forecast. I don't think they work. I'm sorry.
I agree. Yeah.
You always hear about this time of year. I've already heard from 2 different organizations, including the Almanac that predicts the weather in the winter.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's a short range forecast. Yeah, a couple of days, but anything beyond that,
well,
I
unfortunately,
don't have a lot of faith in that.
Rockport New Year's Eve is, weather dependent. And there have been many a New Year's Eve where it was just so bitterly cold.
Really?
Terrible. But I think we haven't had one of those in a long time. Because of what, maybe.
Last year was pretty mild, so.
It's been very mild, but so it does often rain too. But anyway, it's a wonderful celebration, particularly if the weather's okay.
Particularly if the weather's good. Yeah, that would be a nice plus.
Right.
But it'll take place rain or shine. And I remember being at New Year's Eve in Boston when I first arrived here 25 years ago. And it was raining, but it was still fun. There's just so much going on. See people walking around, music, food.
Yeah, that's what we have in Rockport too. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Rockport's a happening place. It's not just a little burg like some people claim.
All right. What else are you working on?
Well, I am there. So along these lines of the festival, the New Year's Eve gathering in Rockport, there's also word that in Manchester, there's a carnival that's going to be returning after a 20-year absence.
Oh.
I'm not prepared to give you any details of it because I just started looking into it, but it's going to take place at Masconomo Park.
Yeah.
Right off Beach Street.
Right. Nice. That's exciting.
And I'm still trying to follow the 2 diver deaths in Rockport several days ago. I've been trying to seek information from the Essex DA's office on that. So I'm trying.
Okay. Well, keep us posted. I look forward to talking to you next week.
You as well, Heather, and Ruby too. I hope she can join us.
Ruby is always very happy to join us. I'll see what I can do.
Awesome. Right. Heather, thanks a million.
Bye.
Bye.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.